Some people have chickens, rare. They used to be much more common. Things which are birds are common, crows and things like that. Sparrows. In any case, if you have food that is edible by any animal which is commonly found around you, then it's permissible to carry it. Even if it's not fit for majority of animals and birds. For instance, something which is called chatzav, some sort of vegetation which is only fit for deer. Chardal, usually translated as mustard. It's only fit for doves. You ever grow doves? You know what this is? Anyway, that's what it says in the Gemara. It's mutter to carry it in a place where there happen to be deer and doves found. Namely where? A place where people grow these things. And it's common to find them. Deer, I guess people used to grow deer. They used to grow doves. Doves, pigeons, for sure. It's not enough just that they're found by the big princes or whatever. So in other words, not by us. Who grows, you know anybody who grows doves? Some people have parakeets or something. Those, they're not yours. It has to be an animal that depends on you for food. Then you can carry it. But if not, you have problems. It's muktzeh. A thing which is not fit, food which is not fit, except for animals and birds which are not found. In other words, you have mustard seeds or whatever, and no one eats mustard seeds. Nobody eats them. The only one that eats them are doves. Now you have mustard seeds scattered all over your table, dinner table. What are you going to do? Well, it's food. I mean, food, you can touch it for no reason, right? Food for who? It's food. It's not food. Would you eat it? What are you talking about? Who would eat that? I would eat it? No. Feed it to your dog, your cat? Nah. It's only good for doves. You have any doves around here? No doves? No doves? It's muktzeh. If there is food which is not fit for any animal that is found where you are, so if you personally happen to have an animal like that, then mutter l'taltal, then you can move this food. But if not, you don't happen to have a pet deer, and it's rare to find deer in Kfar Chabad or Rehovot or, wherever you are, Chicago. Therefore, it is forbidden to carry these. It's forbidden to carry. Therefore, it is forbidden to carry. Let's get our pointer over here. Therefore, it is forbidden to carry bones in a place where there are no dogs. For instance, if you are where there are no dogs, you made Shabbos in the middle of a big field or in a hotel, that there are no dogs in the hotel, then these bones become muktzeh. Whether the bones were removed from the meat on Shabbos, whether the bones were removed from the meat before Shabbos. And if you happen to be a place where there are dogs, but the bones themselves are so hard, sha'af keleb, that even a dog will not eat it. Right? Sometimes you have like the thigh bone of a cow or something like that. It's too big. A dog can't. Then you cannot carry it any place, just like we had the law of stones and pieces of wood. Can't do anything with it. It's muktzeh. And if you say, hey, you know what? I want to use this bone I need the place where the bone is. I mean, the bone's in the middle of my table. I want to eat there. Too bad. It's not a vessel. You can't move it. You have to move it with your elbow or something. Law number 66. What if you have garini tamarim, date pits? Now, date pits are pretty unedible. They're hard. What can you do with them? Date pits, b'makomos, in places shedarkom la'achilum, that it's a way to feed them to animals. I guess there are animals that eat them. It's permissible to carry them. You can, but an important person should be machmir, should be severe on himself, not to carry them unless it's with an unusual way. Like, for instance, put a piece of bread by them or something else that you can carry, a book, and then carry them together on a plate or something, because, or move the whole table away and dump it. Because in a lot of places, date pits are not given to animals. Therefore, you should be severe on yourself, even in a place where you do them. So that's like us. Hey, what do you do with your date pits on the table? What are you going to do? You get on the table, you just move them off. Not so simple. You can't just move them off. They're muktzeh. They're muktzeh. So what are you supposed to do? You have to move it in an unusual way. Let's see. All shells or pits that are not fitting for any animal. So what are you supposed to do? The best thing to do is eat the fruit and spit out the pit with your tongue, spit out into a trash can or something. Now we're going to learn the law of a trash can. It's things that are disgusting. But don't throw them with your hand. Don't spit it into your hand. And also don't throw them with your, spit it out in front of you. And then rely and say, listen, I'm going to spit all these things in front of me. And then it's going to get all disgusting in front of me. And then when it's disgusting, then I'll be able to get rid of it. Where do we learn that it's permissible to get rid of something that's disgusting, to touch it with your hands and to move it off? We haven't learned that yet. That's the law, what's called a graf shel ra'i. The law of a, what's it called? Not a urinal. Anyway, a bedpan. Graf shel ra'i. She used ba'er, like we're going to explain later on, because you can't make a graf shel ra'i lechatchila. Okay, it used to be a long time ago, and we don't know how lucky we are, but we have toilets in our house. You know, it used to be you had to go outside to the toilet. It wasn't so easy to go outside the toilet if it was a cold day or an old person, a sick person. And also now there's also the same thing. So a lot of times they would have like a portable toilet. The Torah, what would you do on Shabbos? What are you supposed to do on Shabbos? So there was a law that is permissible to carry a portable toilet away. We'll learn about that law. Because remember, all these laws are from the rabbis, just to keep you reminding. I mean, they all come from the deepest realms of, Kabbalah, etc., the inside. But the main point is to keep you in mind that it's Shabbos. You shouldn't act normally. So there's sometimes we're going to see that if a thing becomes disgusting, you can move it, get rid of it. But you're not allowed intentionally to make something disgusting on Shabbos, unless you have no choice, like we had this. Okay. Raw meat. raw meat. Raw meat, even if has not been salted yet. Raw meat. It hasn't been salted. Now, there's the laws of salting. We learned it, right? We all learned it together. No, we learned milk and meat. We didn't learn the laws of salting. I'm sorry. So there's complicated laws about salting meat, but essentially what it is that if you want to boil meat, you have to salt it first. If you want to roast meat, you don't have to salt it. The fire takes out the blood. And also, if you want to eat meat raw, you don't have to salt it. It's permissible according to Judaism to eat meat raw with the blood inside of it. You have to wash the outside out so that there's no blood on the surface. Technically, you can eat bread. It's called latided ba'umsa. You can eat bread. You can eat meat raw. But if you want to boil the meat, which is what most people do, then you have to salt it. So what if you have raw meat that's not salted? Well, you might think this is something like flour, for making bread. You can't do anything with it on Shabbos. What are you going to use flour for? Nobody eats flour. So it's muktzeh. So you might think the same thing is also with raw meat. Basar chai, raw meat, even if it's unsalted, it's permissible to carry it. Why? Because it still is fit for people to eat. Who's going to eat it on Shabbos? You can't cook it on Shabbos. You can't roast it. You can't boil it ever. You could roast it. You can't roast it on Shabbos. But if it's totally raw meat, even if it hasn't been salted, there are people that will eat it. Because yesh b'nei adam, some people, shedatam yafi, that they have, strong constitutions, the kosesim basar chai, and they chew up raw meat. That it's not forbidden because of blood, like it's written in Yeridea. But if it's hard meat that no one can chew it up raw, then it's forbidden to carry it. All right, one second, you can give it to dogs. We'll talk about that in a second. Vahu adin, this is the same law. Other things that are similar to it, for instance, raw, cold oil. Just remembered something. My wife wanted me to buy her oil, and I didn't buy it. It's terrible. Schumann, I would have read this. Okay, like for instance, I went to the market. Anyway, not important. I'm innocent. Come on, Schumann chai, like raw oil or raw fat that's cold. Sha'av sheroim lekalavim, even though that. Here, by the way, this word shuman, because it has the vav in it, it's not talking about oil, it's talking about fat. Fat, raw fat, cold fat, that because, even though that it's fit for dogs to eat, but, so maybe you think the same thing as this raw meat. I mean, okay, I can't eat it, but dogs can eat it, so maybe it shouldn't be muktzeh, but it's not ready. You're not going to give this to dogs. You want Shabbos to end, and then you'll give it to people. Motzi Shabbos. On Shabbos, therefore, it's not fit for anything. It's not fit for people because it's too hard to eat. It's not fit for dogs because you didn't have it. We weren't intending to give it to dogs. But if you have rotten meat, then that is permissible to carry. Why? Because you can give it to dogs. And it's ready to be given to dogs. And dogs are pretty common around. We're going to see. It's not so simple about dogs, but we'll see. Salted fish. It's permissible to carry it, but if it's not salted, it's forbidden to carry it. Why? It's muktzeh. Because it's not fit for any person, and it's not there, it's only there to be thrown to the dogs, and you're not going to throw it to the dogs. You're going to cook it up after Shabbos. You're not going to. True, there's such a thing as sushi or things like that, but I don't think this was very made popular in the times of the Alter Rebbe. I guess it wasn't aware. People would eat raw meat, but people didn't eat raw fish. What about if a non-Jew slaughters a cow on Shabbos? And let's say some of this meat somehow or other, he's a good friend, and the meat that he has is in your front yard. He's going to come and get it, but he didn't come and get it, and you want to use the front yard. So you can move it, just like Basar Nevela. Why? Just like the animal that died on Shabbos. You might think this is like nolad. The animal was alive. When the animal was alive, you're not allowed to touch animals. I don't think we got to that. Did we get it? We talked about it briefly in the beginning. A live animal is muktzeh on Shabbos. You're not allowed to pet your dog on Shabbos. You can have your dog around if you want to. Amazing, the dogs will get used to it. They'll know when Shabbos is. You're not allowed to pet dogs on Shabbos. You can feed the dog. You can let the dog brush against you, but you're not allowed to touch the dog with your hands on Shabbos. But you can certainly feed it. So the same thing is, let's say a cow. A cow is an animal, right? You're not allowed to touch animals on Shabbos. Now let's say this non-Jew slaughters his cow on Shabbos. So when Shabbos came in, this meat was forbidden. Right, it was muktzeh, it was part of the cow. And now we slaughtered it, it made like a new thing. Well, we learned that a new thing, no lot is permissible on Shabbos. So therefore, it's permissible to touch this meat, just like it's permissible to touch the meat of because you're going to give it to the non-Jew. It's his meat. It's okay. Forget which one I was on. Where was I before? What was this? This was Ayin, yeah. A kamiyah. Okay, here we have a bunch of strange laws. One of the strange laws, there's a thing called a kamiyah. I don't know if the Ashkenazim use these too much, but obviously they did. This is talking to the Ashkenazim. What's a kamiyah? Kamiyah is, usually it's a piece of parchment, and someone who is an expert, usually it's some sort of a tzaddik or someone, or it was handed down from previous generations from one to the other, and you write something on this. I guess in English it's called an amulet. And you write a couple of words down, and this protects the person or heals the person or keeps the person away from danger or whatever. So it's permissible to wear these things around your neck, right? And if the person was sick, he puts this thing around his neck and it helps him. What is it permissible to move this on Shabbos? It says, well, if it's brand new and if it was written by an expert, then yes, you can move it because these things do work. They work. But if it was not written by an expert, a kamiyah, an amulet that was not written by an expert, it was written by a non-expert, an amateur, right? A person, let me give my hand at this. Even though even though he's not going to carry it out, into the streets, because that would be carrying something unnecessary. From the chashash, from the worry, maybe it won't work at all. And therefore, it is not officially considered to be an ornament, like a bracelet or a ring or something. If so, it has not really a vessel at all. It's not fitting really for anything, even on the weekday. Who knows, maybe it won't work at all. Even in the weekday, it won't work. Whether it was written, katav, whether it was written, or bain, whether it is shel ikrin, I think this means spices or something. They put some sort of oil or plants in there or something. Anyway, whatever it is, this thing basically doesn't really have much use to it, and you can't carry it out on the street because it could be you're wearing something, it's tied around your neck, but it could be that it's not even a vessel. It's not even an ornament. Something like it says if you have tzitzis on and one of the tzitzis falls off, you're walking on the road and one of the tzitzis falls off. So the garment is not really covered by the tzitzis. So it says, if so, you're supposed to take it off. You're supposed to take it off because you're wearing a garment that is really not serving any purpose. So you might think it's the same thing with this amulet. This is an amateur amulet that might not even work. You won't even carry it outside. Nevertheless, it's not muktzeh. Why? Because the only reason we're worried, we said one of the reasons for muktzeh is that you shouldn't carry things out of your house. Well, if this is an amulet that you're not going to carry it in the street, you're already worried that it's not going to work. So therefore, it's forbidden to carry out in the street, yes, this amulet that might not work, and you don't know of, but it's not forbidden as far as muktzeh goes. Now we have another question. If it's permissible to wear it as a necklace in your house, this was explained previously when you can do it and when you can't do it. The main thing is don't do it. I don't know if you've ever encountered something like this. One second. No. What happened? Why does this? Why did I jump so much? Yeah, okay. Excuse me, I just temporarily forgot where I was. Okay, this is it. Ayin base. We just finished Ayin Aleph, right? Did we? Yes, we did. Okay, good. I'm sorry, I just forgot. All right, now we're going to go into laws of a graph shel re'i. Here we go. It's a little bit long, but we'll try it. Let's try it. I'll just say it in English. Okay, according to what we're learning up to now, things that are muktzeh, you can't touch them, you can't move them. You can't move them with a brush. You're holding it in your hand. You can't scoop it up with a what's it called? A piece of paper or something and carry it somewhere. You can't do it. It's muktzeh. So what do you do if you have things that are really dirty and it's messy? You just leave your house all messy. You can't use a broom and sweep it because it's all muktzeh and you're holding a broom. It's like a long arm. So that's what we're going to start learning here. And maybe we'll have to do this again. Maybe we'll just do the first. We'll see. Anything which is dirty, like excrement, vomit, etc., things like this, whether of a human being, whether of animals, or something like that. If this disgusting thing is in your backyard or in your front yard that you don't live in there, namely the yard which is in front of the house, especially, or that's next to your house, the back of your house is a special sort of a law because people used to go in the back of the backyard. I know that what used to be when I was young. I don't think they even have that here. Maybe to a certain degree they do have it in Israel. Your backyard. So your backyard, that's sort of yours. That's where you do, how do you say, occupy that a little bit. So if this disgusting thing, whatever it is, this filth or this is in the front of your house or some part of your house that in front of your house, that this is the entranceway to your house, that you go out and you come in all the time. This is a place where you're careful about your front lawn. Oh, in America, front lawn was a big deal. Shalo yehebo tinaf, and you don't want it to be dirty. You have to look nice. You're mowing your lawn. Mow the lawn was one of the main, activities. It's permissible to, and here's this disgusting stuff laying right out there. Then you can take it out to the garbage, or you can take it to the toilet, and you can move it even with your hands, even without a vessel. Essentially, moving it in a vessel is the same thing as moving it with your hands. But here is just to stress, and this is what's called, everyone, a graf shel re'i, a vessel of, excrement, a vessel of manure, the cane of bad stuff. And similarly also, if it's in like the road, in a place where people are walking, so you can move it to the side. If somebody's going to step on this, a horse was just there, it's permissible to move it to the side. Disgusting. But if it is someone else's, if it's in another yard where no one lives there, and also if it's in the yard that's in back of your house where you don't care what people see, this is a place where you're not so careful about it. If there's dirt there or if there's not, if so, people will sit there. They don't care unless you decide you want to make a backyard party or something. But when people don't sit there, which that's usually the case, people don't sit around in their backyard, and you also don't care about what people think about your backyard. So therefore, you're not careful about it if there's going in or coming out, because this is not the normal way. People don't come in and go out. It's your back door. Therefore, it's forbidden to take that out unless you do go and sit there. Oh, this is going to be important when we talk about a dead body. We'll see. So therefore, if it's in your backyard and there's all this filth and dirt, but you don't really care that much, maybe a little bit, but you can't take it out. Unless you decide you're going to go and sit there and it really bothers you, then you can move it because it is your property. But if you're afraid because there's a child, you don't want your child to go there and to get all dirty, smelly, then it's permissible to take a vessel and put it over this excrement. You're allowed to take a vessel for the sake of a thing which is muktzeh on Shabbos. An egg that was laid on Shabbos or something like that, which is muktzeh, you can put a vessel over it. And even if they are in a yard that you do live in it, in your front yard, whatever, but this is in this happens to be the dirt and the filth is the part of your front yard or the part of your backyard. Let's say you always spend a lot of time in your backyard, but there's a part of your backyard that you have singled out for garbage or for the chickens to be there. Some people used to have compost piles in the backyard, and the filth is over there. It's forbidden to take it out because you're used to it being there. Okay, so here we have a vessel that's filled with filth. If it's in a place where it doesn't bother anybody, then you can't move it. If this vessel that's filled with filth is in a place where you don't care about it at all, but it's full, and it's impossible, you're going to want to use it again. It's impossible to use it again. It's permissible to take it out, dump it, and bring it back to the place where it was. Why? Because of Chabad Abrios. This is talking about a portable toilet. It's permissible to move it. So muktzeh then applies to things that are filthy, dirty. You can't use it for anything. But sometimes, if it's for the honor of people, if it gets in your way, then you're allowed to move it. And we'll continue this, God willing, next week. Have a good day, everyone. God bless you all. See you tomorrow. Chassidic tomorrow, 8:15. Everyone is invited. Please come. Shalom.
Thank you. Shalom.